the assignment coming up, if you haven't submitted it. Yes, I mean assignment number 1. Okay, that's good. I'll start marking them soon. So the next assignment is, I think it's the discussion board on artificial intelligence. That's week 5. And then week 6, we have Neil Postman group presentation. So I'll speak a little bit about that today. And I'll take your questions, and then next week is week 4. You do a section, a module on communication and social media, and that once you're done with the assignment number 1, you should start focusing on the discussion board and the Neil Postman presentation. I'm just going to wait for latecomers, maybe 2 more minutes, and then I'll speak more toward that. But for the time being, I'll share my screen with you. So do you see the topical outline and course outline? Okay, that's good. Yeah, so as you can see, you have done the quiz, and assignment number 1 is due October 8th by the end of the day. So that's at the end of week 4. That's coming up for you. And then next we have technology and ethics, robotics and artificial intelligence. There is quite a bit of information there. I suggest you start getting into it after you do cover the information in week 4. And the instructions for the discussion board are posted. So here you basically are required to reflect, write a short reflective paragraph on any of the topics that come up in that section, section number 5 on artificial intelligence. And there are many different topics about the progress of artificial intelligence, about its function, about its ethical consequences. So please mute your microphones so we don't hear the background noise, please. Thank you. So that's week 5, and then week 6 we'll have a virtual group presentation, and that's worth 15%. And I'll explain this in a bit more detail in a bit. So again, back to week 5. So week 5 is, again, the artificial intelligence discussion board. And here you are required to reflect in a short paragraph on any of the topics or ideas or concepts that come up in that section. And so you have to start a thread first on the discussion board, and then you are required to reply to at least 2 discussion boards from your classmates. And then if someone replies, then you have to construct one reply to that reply, okay? So if you go to discussions, let me just go to that week. Week 5. So artificial intelligence discussion. And here you have instructions. Do you see this? Artificial intelligence discussion. Okay, so here it says, do you think that AI, which is artificial intelligence, should be developed to its fullest potential? Why or why not? You need to clearly discuss your view based on at least one of the concepts or ideas discussed in week 5 lecture notes. So basically week 5 modules, the modules that are under week 5, that is. Please post your view or your position by starting a new thread. So that's worth 3 marks. You need to respond to at least 2 others' postings by asking meaningful questions or expressing your view. So a response to their postings. Also make sure to respond to anyone who has responded to your original thread, 2 marks, okay? And you have the discussion marking rubric right here. And you basically go to the discussion board and then you start a thread. So it's like a short reflection, a short paragraph on anything that really resonated with you, something that you thought was really interesting, intriguing, maybe something that stirred up some fear in you, or an immediate ethical concern when it comes to developing existing artificial intelligence and the development of artificial intelligence moving forward. So that's basically, excuse me. Okay, I thought I was gonna sneeze. So that's the discussion board. Any questions in regards to the discussion board on artificial intelligence? Excuse me, just my allergies. No questions for this assignment? Okay. So the next assignment after that is the new Postman presentation. So that's week 6. Okay. And under assignments, you will find the Postman presentation information. So here you have an article that you need to read in order to have an idea of what's going on in the new Postman, in the article, and what you will have to do for your presentations. So first, get on this article as soon as possible. I will discuss this article in more detail next week, but you can also use the discussion board for that week to post questions. I might also maybe post a short video explaining additionally some of the ideas that are in the article. So here you are discussing, the article is divided into 5 ideas or 5 categories. And this will give you the opportunity to reflect on the impact of these technologies on your behavior, society, and environment. So basically, I will create, first of all, I will create 6 or 7 different groups under groups. So if you go to communications and groups, I will create different groups here with specific technologies. So let's say, for example, a group for self-driving cars or gene editing or something else, maybe solar panel technologies. So I will create specific groups for you today, and you will get into groups of 5 or 6 students, and then whoever, so whoever, if you sign up for any specific technology, any specific group, that your group will be working on that specific technology. So again, if it's self-driving cars, then if the group has 5 or 6 students, then you will be working with students in that group. So you will need to coordinate your materials and then also present the material, the presentation to me, the information that is for your presentation to me in a recorded manner, in a video type manner. Let me just go back to the assignment itself so that I can explain a few more things for you. So the presentation will be 10 to 15 minutes long, and here are some of the steps that are included. So first, join a group. In order to join a group, you need to navigate to communications groups on eCentennial. Groups have been formed and named based on technologies, and I will do that. Select your group based on the technology you are interested in. Groups are first come, first serve. Okay, so the sooner you sign up for groups, the sooner you will know who is in your group, and the sooner you can start working on your presentation. Once you are in a group, you have access to the email address of your other members. After joining a group, start working on your presentation. This is a virtual presentation, and you don't need to meet your teammates physically. Obviously, this is not going to happen. You can work on your presentations by communicating through email or any other technology. You'll be required to put together a 10 to 15 minutes virtual presentation in which you will apply all 5 of Postman ideas on a chosen technology. Each of the group members will be responsible for applying one of the 5 ideas, okay? In order to know how to apply each idea, please refer to the lecture notes of week 3. 5 ideas about technological change by Neil Postman. Make sure to read the entire presentation by Postman, uploaded in lecture notes 3. Each member of the group first needs to explain the idea in her own words. Then he or she will apply the idea to discuss the selected technology. So here it says you have 2 options for delivery. Either you will be delivering your presentation as a virtual presentation using voiceover or narrated PowerPoint slide or Prezi. Each member of the group needs to record his or her voice on slides. If you have any direct difficulty to record your voice on slides, you need to communicate with your professor before due date. Okay, so if you have any problems, let me know. Keep me posted on a regular basis. Or you can ask your professor to arrange an online meeting using virtual classroom or Zoom for you. You can deliver your presentation in an online meeting. All members of your group need to attend the meeting and present their parts. So here you can choose a date, either during office hours or some other date during the week, and you can basically present your ideas. And then I will record that presentation or I basically mark you on the spot while I'm watching your presentation. So here you have a rubric, okay? So you're explaining an idea, then you're applying the idea to discuss a technology. So let's say if you are if you choose self-driving cars, and then one of the ideas in the Neil Postman article is technology gives and takes, or technology creates winners or losers, and there are three other ideas. Then you need to take that idea, the idea of technology gives and takes, okay, and to explain it briefly what it means, and then you apply that idea to self-driving cars. So what is it about self-driving cars that gives and takes, or what kind of advantages do or would self-driving cars give us individually and socially, and what would that technology take away from us? Because technology always presents us with advantages or benefits, and at the same time with disadvantages or drawbacks. Okay, so you basically apply each idea to that one technology. In this case, let's say self-driving cars, or other technologies you will choose. So let me go back to week 3 for a second. As I'm doing this, do you have any questions? So here you have more materials, okay? Under week 3, 5 ideas about technological change by Neil Postman. Further explaining, helping you understand what Neil Postman means by each idea. Okay, I will go over this next week. Sorry, yes, I will start talking about this next week during office hours. Okay, but this is a good way to navigate through the article. So next week I'll basically take more questions about your understanding. And here you have the article. It's a short speech basically, and it's divided into 5 ideas. So idea number 1 is technology gives and takes. Idea number 2 is that technology creates winners and losers. Idea number 3 is that each technology is created with a specific philosophy or bias or prejudice. Idea number 4 is that technology is ecological, not additive. It has nothing to do with ecology, that is environmentalism. But once you read it and you read over the commentaries and explanations, you will know what this means. And if you have additional questions, I will take them up next week and week number 5 as well. And then idea number 5 is that technology becomes mythic. And again, this has nothing to do with mythology, but it has to do with a few other ideas. So your responsibility is to go over the article and the commentary on the article. Can I go over the ethical frameworks one more time? Okay, 1 second. So that's basically what the plan is for the next 3 weeks for you, okay? And again, I will create specific groups under communications and groups for the Neil Postman presentation. Excuse me. With specific technologies, and you'll have it. Then you'll be able to sign up for specific technologies. And of course, it's first come first serve. So the sooner you get on this, the sooner you'll be able to. The sooner you'll be in a group, and then the sooner you'll be able to start working and coordinating and communicating with your group members. Okay, so the question here is, could I go over the ethical frameworks one more time? Okay, do you have any specific questions in regards to the ethical frameworks? Let me go to the framework. Is there something specific that you don't understand? About utilitarianism, deontology, virtue ethics? I can go over it right now. Okay, any specific questions about deontology? So when you're analyzing, let's say, your dilemma, and you choose deontology to analyze your dilemma, then you have to show how your dilemma, how the two categorical imperatives, first the test of universalizability and the test of humanity, help you solve the dilemma. You need to include that. So an act only to so according to the first categorical imperative, we also call this in ethics test of universalizability. It says act only on that maxim that you can will as a universal law. Okay, do you know what this means? Do you understand this? Okay, so what Kant wants you to do is he wants you to come up with some sort of a maxim according to which you can morally live or resolve moral problems. So for example, you might say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to tell the truth 99% of the time, but sometimes I will lie when it's advantageous to my cause. So Immanuel Kant says, okay, test this moral principle in your head. Okay, this is called the test of universalizability, in order to see whether it actually makes sense and whether to see whether it is actually logical. So again, the principle might be, I will tell the truth most of the time, but sometimes I will lie. Now, is this practical and is this logical? Would you want, the test is basically, would you want everyone on earth to abide by this principle? That's what it means, universalizability, so that everyone universally abides by the same moral standard. So let's say you are, you have a problem with your car and you go to a car mechanic. Now, since the principle abides, since everyone now abides by the same principle, they will act according to it. So let's say you go to a car mechanic, you have a problem with your brakes or something else in the car, and the car mechanic, he or she thinks to themselves, okay, so I can, the principle is I tell the truth, but sometimes I can lie. So If it's advantageous to their cause, they might lie to you. The mechanic might lie to you and say, well, you know what, you actually need a full brake job instead of maybe just some brake fluid that's less costly. And they might lie to you because it's advantageous to their cause. So now you, as on the receiving end, are being lied to. Now the question is, do you want to be lied to by professional tradespeople? Because again, remember the moral principle that you are now trying to universalize is that you know, you do tell the truth most of the time, or 99% of the time, but 1% of the time, when it is advantageous or beneficial to your situation, you can lie. So the question is, would you want everyone to abide by the same moral principle? Is such a world a good world to live in? Is it possible to live like that? So in your head, if the answer is yes, then you stick to the principle. If the answer is no, then you get rid of the principle and you come up with something better. So do you want car mechanics to lie to you about what you need to do? No, you don't. Do you want medical professionals to, let's say, well, you know, I did go to medical school and I did most of the work, but some of the exams I cheated on because sometimes I can lie. So now there you go to a hospital, and then maybe some of the doctors are professionals and maybe some of them are not so good. Maybe they're competent, maybe some of them are not too competent. What if you go to do your taxes? You know, you can see that this is a problem. Even agreeing to tell lies or to cheat or to scam and scheme on very little bit, or maybe just 1% of times, is not advantageous for everyone together. Okay. Secondly, it doesn't make logical sense to say, I will tell truth 99% of the time, but I will lie 1% of the time. Then just say you will lie. According to Kant, this is illogical because no one really knows when you will lie. We know that you will lie, but we just don't know when. So people really don't know. Even if you tell them, okay, you know what, I'm telling the truth, you might be lying. So it is not logical to say, I will tell the truth, but sometimes I will lie. Either you are telling the truth or you are lying, okay? But to have the two, it doesn't make sense. It's a logical contradiction. So that's the test of universalizability. So you're basically taking an idea, a principle. Let's say you've chosen a principle to resolve your moral dilemma. Whatever it may be. You know, in such a situation, I choose, or I should choose, or it is good to choose A, B, or C scenario or position. So then you take that position and then you run it through the test of universalizability. You test it in your head, okay? What would happen? Would it be good to do A, B, or C in, you know, in a specific situation, moral dilemma, if everyone acted in the same fashion? If everyone chose A, B, or C, what kind of world would we live in? Would that be a good world? And is my claim actually logical? So to live in a world where people say, yes, I will tell the truth 99% of the time, but sometimes I will lie, is not a good world. Ideally speaking, it's not a good world, because it's a world that's filled with lying and cheating. Okay. Now, even though people lie and cheat on a regular basis, the way our society is constructed is to believe what you read on a contract is what you will actually get. To believe what people say to you is actually true. To believe that people will keep their promises. Okay, because if people don't keep their promises, if people lie and cheat and scheme on a regular basis, if they don't respect the rule of a contract, then everything falls apart. Okay, so like in a business scenario, one person says I will do A, and the other person says yes, that's good, therefore I will do B. If one person in the business deal says, well, but I didn't really mean, when I said A, I didn't really mean A, I meant C. So let's say they're saying to you, I'm selling a car to you for $20,000 or $15,000. That's on the contract, but or I'm selling a car for this car to you for $50,000, and I promise that this car has been, even though it's used, it has been checked for safety and regulations. So you're getting a safe car, but really you haven't checked, right? So that can't be the case because the world would be unreliable and no one would trust anyone. And people would be losing jobs and people would be losing money on a regular basis. People wouldn't trust institutions. Students wouldn't trust teachers. Teachers wouldn't trust managers. Managers wouldn't trust politicians. Politicians wouldn't trust its own government. You see the problem with trying to universalize a principle like, yes, we will tell the truth 99% of the time, but sometimes we will lie. That's okay. Do you see a problem with that? Do you understand this? The first maxim, or the first maxim just means a principle. Do you understand this idea of the test of universalizability? Okay. So again, you're running this test in your head in order to see what would be the outcomes. So basically, deontology is an ethical theory about your intentions. In contradiction or contrary to utilitarianism, because utilitarianism places emphasis on consequences of actions, what they mean, what consequences mean for an individual and also as many people as possible. Whereas with deontology, consequences are not important. And they're not important because consequences cannot be controlled. Your intentions can be controlled. So whether you choose to tell a truth or whether you choose to tell a lie, whether you choose to abide by a contract, whether you choose to be on time, whether you choose to keep a promise, is within your personal control. Consequences are not within your control. You may have all the good intentions in the world, but you don't know how people will interpret what you say. You don't know all the different variables that go into a situation. So that's why Immanuel Kant says, as long as you do your best to keep your promise and to be ethical, your intentions to be good, then you are a moral person, a moral agent. And then consequences, that's a different story, because many things in the world are out of our control. So deontology is it's basically about ethics of intentions, because that is what is within the realm of personal control. And but utilitarianism is about consequences, judging the the benefit of specific consequences for the greatest amount of people. So they're completely different, completely different theories. Although in the rule utilitarianism, as opposed to act utilitarianism, you're supposed to follow a specific rule. So let's say a rule could be you cannot lie, or you cannot speed on the highway, or you cannot cheat on your taxes. And then we apply that rule, and when we apply that rule, that rule is supposed to maximize the greatest good for the greatest amount of people. So again, just a simple example for the test of universalizability. Universalizability, it's a mouthful, I know. Let's say you're walking down the street and you choose to litter. So you're eating something, maybe like a chocolate bar, and you throw litter on the sidewalk. So from the perspective of the test of universalizability, you are supposed to ask yourself, would I want everyone on earth to litter the same way as I do? And if you're in your head, in your mind, you say, no, of course I don't want everyone to litter, because that would mean that we would all walk the streets in garbage. When the answer is negative, then you scratch it, you get rid of the principle, and you come up with something better that would actually pass the test of universalizability in your head. It's the same thing for, let's say, should I cheat on a test? So the immediate question in your head should be, okay, would I want everyone to cheat on their tests? Would I want everyone to cheat on their taxes? Would I want everyone to cheat on whatever examinations there are, professional examinations? And then you think to yourself, okay, if everyone cheats, then there is no quality, there is no competence. Everything becomes a sham. You can't run a society reliably and successfully on people scheming and scamming all the time. It just doesn't work. So then you get rid of that. If it doesn't your idea or your principle, moral principle that you want to live by or resolve your moral dilemma with, that is, it doesn't work, then it doesn't pass the test, then you get rid of it, then you come up with something better. Okay, is this clear? Okay, so what about the test of humanity? Do you understand the test of humanity? Okay, so here it says, always treat humanity, whether in your own person or that of another, never simply as a means, but always at the same time as an end. So by means, here Kant means to be treated as an object for some other goal. And an end means a goal in itself. Okay, so never treat, so basically, to put it more simply, never treat people as objects of manipulation. Always treat them as the end result. Okay, so always treat humans with respect. because human beings are not objects. Human beings are not chairs. Human beings are not cars. Human beings are not typical physical objects. Okay, so when you decide to lie to someone because you want to make a profit, or because it is advantageous to you, or because you're trying to do whatever, you know, in some way lying to someone is beneficial to you, then you're using them as a means for some other goal, your personal goal. Okay, you're using them basically as chairs or other objects like cups. Okay, you're disregarding their right to be respected as human beings, as you're disregarding every person's uh, right to be treated as a human being, that is, not to be treated like an object of manipulation. So then you also run so in your moral dilemma, you also run the test of humanity. So if you choose to solve your moral dilemma or whatever, you're trying to figure out how you should act morally in a given situation, whether it's a moral dilemma or something else on an everyday basis. You should ask yourself, with my actions, am I using someone for my benefit? And at the same time, disregarding the fact that I should treat them with respect and as a human being, not as an object. So if you let's say make a promise, but then you say, you know what, I'm not going to keep my promise because I don't really care about that person, right? You're disregarding their right to be respected, because they think that you're going to keep a promise, but you just tell them to keep. So let's say you tell them that you will, let's say, you know, let's say your friend asks you to help him move or help her move, and you say, yeah, I'm going to help him move or her move, because it is because they do other things for me. Let's say they give you a ride to work. So they give you a ride to work on a regular basis and but they ask you for a favor in return. And you say, yes, I will do that because it's convenient for you, because let's say they pick you up from home and you drive to work together. But you never mean to keep your promise. So you lie to them for the sake of being driven to work on a daily basis because it's convenient or it's comfortable. So then you treat them as a means. You don't treat them as an end in itself. An end here means a human goal. You treat them as an object of manipulation. So if you come up with a principle and this principle violates the test of humanity, then you have to get rid of it and you have to come up with a better action, a better principle. So basically, you can't treat, according to Kant, human beings have integrity. They also need to earn that integrity, but they need to be treated with integrity and respect. And because human beings are not chairs, okay? Human beings have goals, decisions, they have families, they have their own lives, and that needs to be respected. Okay, human beings are not chairs. You can take a chair and you can basically break it into pieces, and the chair doesn't have consciousness, the chair doesn't have desires, the chair doesn't have goals and wishes, it doesn't have families, it doesn't feel, it doesn't, it doesn't do any of the things that human beings do. Okay, therefore it can be treated like a typical object. You can smash it, you can rebuild it, you can paint it, you can pull it apart. Okay, you can't do that with human beings, because you're basically, when you do that, you negate the integrity and you negate their right to be respected as human beings. as conscious, feeling, decision-making human beings. So if your moral principle violates any of these two tests, then you have to get rid of it and you have to come up with something better. And these two tests are supposed to safeguard you from, or they're supposed to keep your intentions moral, safeguard your intentions from immoral intentions. They're supposed to guarantee that your intentions will be moral, that your intentions in your in your ethical decision making will be good. Does this make sense? Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay. So remember, your assignment number 1 is due by next week, Thursday. Try to finish it before, and I will start marking them as soon as they start trickling in. And after that, at the end of week 5, you are required to do artificial intelligence discussion boards. And then week 6 is the Neil Postman presentation. So make sure you go over the Neil Postman article, make sure you go over the instructions, make sure you go over in week 3 commentary on Neil Postman's ideas, and I will take questions and further explain next week and also week 5. In addition to that, I will create specific groups for specific technologies for the Neil Postman presentation under communications and groups. So if you go to communications and groups, here I will create, oh, let's see, Neil Postman presentation groups. So here are 3 groups. I will create 2 or 3 more groups with specific technologies. And please get on this quickly and sign up for a specific group, because then you will know who is in your group, you can contact them, and then you can start working on your analysis and presentation. Any questions? Okay, thank you. I'm just looking at the chat box for responses. Okay, so thank you for your responses. We will finish it here, and I will post this recording for you and for others. And if you have any questions, go to the discussions, weekly discussions, and or email me. Okay, well, take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you and see you soon. Bye bye.